You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not defraud. Honor your father and mother. He said to him, Teacher, I have kept all these since my youth. It would seem that the rich man was well on his way. His question, Jesus' answer, and the rich man's response are promising. Jesus' words up to now seem to validate what the rich man already desires. Maybe, hopefully, he is already doing enough. Maybe, hopefully, he just needs to do it a little longer, maybe a little better. However, with the exception of honor your father and mother, these commandments are about not doing something. Where we speak of sins of omission, perhaps these represent righteousness by omission. They're not difficult to keep, really. Just stay out of trouble. In the case of honor your father and mother, that may not have been difficult. The man may have owed his wealth and title to his parents as an inherited privilege. If not, well, being a person of some station in the community who had a concern for obedience to the law, honoring his mother and father would be natural, it would be expected, and it wouldn't be onerous. After all, they are kin. Not doing is easy. You can live this kind of faith in a cave. If you're isolated from society, you cannot offend against it. You can easily obey the not commandments without social or community engagement or care. However, the man's question to Jesus was not what he should not do. The rich man's question was, what must I do to inherit eternal life? If we surmise that he did nothing to inherit his advantages in life apart from being born, surely inheriting eternal life can't be that difficult. Jesus said, you lack one thing. Go, sell what you own, and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. Jesus says, you lack one thing, and then gives the man three things to do. Go, sell what you own, give the money to the poor, then come follow me. And these three things imply increasing risk. Liquidate your assets. Give away your future security. Now, Bob, the chair of trustees, knows that investments grow. Cash dwindles and depreciates. Give your cash away. Even stuffed in a mattress, a bundle of cash represents security, at least for today. Jesus says, give away your present security. Jesus says, follow a man who, by his own admission, has little to offer but a cross and an unproven promise of eternal life, whatever that is. And worse than all this, the rich man was to give away the reputation he could have purchased with his wealth. He instructed the man to give his money to the poor, then follow Jesus. If he was instructed to give his money to Jesus and then follow him, at least he always would have been the disciple that really helped Jesus out, like Lazarus or Joseph of Arimathea. Instead, he gets, give away all your wealth, security, reputation, then follow me as a nameless disciple. When he heard this, he was shocked and went away grieving, for he had many possessions. Now, of course, grieving is a reaction to loss. As soon as the man asked, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" it was certain that he would grieve. He had no choice but to abandon that which gave him security in this world, or abandon the promise of eternal life in God's kingdom that he clearly desired. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not defraud. Honor your father and mother. These imply no risk or loss. Go, sell what you own, and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. This is risky business. Jesus gave an answer to a rich man that implied great risk. Now, of course, to the credit of the rich man, he asked the question because he felt a lack. Simply asking the question opened the door to risk. The challenge to risk everything is a response to a question. This Sunday is the first of a stewardship focus. And like the encounter with the rich man, we begin with a question. Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? The rich man knew who he was and what he had done or not done thus far. The rich man knew what it was that he wanted, and he knew that he didn't have it. Beginning where I am, how do I get to where I want to be? And Jesus' answer was not, carry on as you are already doing or not doing. Jesus' answer was shocking. So what is our question? Now on the 24th of November, the Bay of Quinte conference staff are presenting a cooperative ministry workshop. It's subtitled, looking forward to the future of our faith communities. It's described as a workshop to learn about alternatives to church closure. And the premise is this: our church attendance is dwindling and our finances are falling short. And the question that prepares you for the workshop is this: how do we stay relevant into the future? Now, up to this point, it would seem that we are well on our way. The question, how do we stay relevant into the future, is promising. It seems to validate what we already hope. That maybe, hopefully, we're doing enough. Maybe, hopefully, we might just need to do it longer or a little better. Perhaps more efficiently. Perhaps, as cooperative ministry workshop would suggest, we simply need to do the same thing as before, but find a way to do it together. After all, the question is, how do we stay relevant into the future? Now, I'm not sure this is the best question to ask. If our church attendance is dwindling, and if our finances are falling short, we must first ask, how relevant are we now? Now, Trinity, of course, recently passed through an interim ministry. And our transition report contains a very important question. What is God calling us to do? And from that came connect, inspire, and serve. Now, it may be said that connect informs the ministry of Christian community. Inspire informs the ministry of spiritual leadership. Serve informs the ministry of outreach and social justice. So, as an introduction to our stewardship campaign, we consider these important questions. What is God calling us to do to connect? What is God calling us to do to inspire? And what is God calling us to do to serve? Now, these questions must be asked without the assumption that we are already doing what is necessary, or that we are not doing what is necessary. We may be on track, and we may not. If we are open, we will find that questions such as these always invite risk. Now, as an introduction to our budget writing process, as an introduction to our teams developing ministry plans for next year and beyond, we ask the kinds of questions that open us up to greater relevance and to greater risk. And entering this process is not the exclusive responsibility of the members of our teams. supporting the answers to these questions, entering the risk that relevant ministry implies, belongs to us all. As we enter this cycle in the life of our church, ask, what is God calling us to do? And ask, what is God calling me to do? Accepting the call implies investment, time, talent, energy, ambition, and treasure. Please consider your question and your commitment today and in the days that follow. Amen.